Hey grade 7s, today we are going to revise a whole bunch of different things. We're going to revise factors, multiples, highest common factor, lowest common multiple, prime numbers, composite numbers, divisibility rules. So it's a whole jumble of things, so let's get going. Let's start with factors. Factors are numbers that can divide into another number without a remainder. So let's say we have the number 24. We want to see which numbers we can divide 24 by without getting a remainder. So I can say 24 divided by 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, not 5, but 6 and 8 and 12 and 24, and I won't get a remainder if I divide by any of those numbers. So those are the factors of 24. Right. Now, sometimes our numbers are a bit big, and so to see if something is a factor of another number, we have to use our rules of divisibility. So the rules of divisibility, there are some easy ones, there are some that are new, so we need to actually practice them a bit, but they're actually quite handy things to know. So let's have a look at the rules of divisibility. We're going to look at them in a slightly different order, just to make it a little bit easier. So the first one we're going to have a look at is 10. For a number to be divisible by 10, it has to end on a 0. So any number that ends on a 0 is divisible by 10. For a number to be divisible by 5, the whole big number, doesn't matter how big it is, has to either end on a 0 or a 5. Right. If we have a look at a number that is divisible by 2, it has to end on an even number. So that means it has to end on either a 0, 2, 4, 6, or an 8. Any number that ends on any of those numbers is divisible by 2. Let's have a look at when a number is divisible by 3. Right, this is a new one. This is one of those that we need to learn. So to check if something is divisible by 3, we need to add all the digits of the number. So if it's 345, you will say 3 plus 4 plus 5. So you add the digits together, and if the answer is divisible by 3, then the whole number is divisible by 3. Alright. For a number to be divisible by 6, it has to be divisible by 2 and 3. Divisible by 2 and 3. So if it's an even number, and if we add the digits together and it's divisible by 3, it is then divisible by 6. Right, for it to be divisible by 9 is exactly the same as being divisible by 3, except that the answer has to be divisible by 9. So we add the digits together. So 345, 3 plus 4 plus 5. We add those digits together, and if the answer is divisible by 9, the whole number is divisible by 9. Right. For a number to be divisible by 4, the last two digits must be divisible by 4. In other words, if I have a number like 2, 4, 9, 5, 6, 3, 2, if I have a look at the last two digits make the number 32, and I can say 32 divided by 4 and not get a remainder. That means that this whole number, if you type it into your calculator and say divide by 4, you will not get a remainder. So that whole big number is divisible by 4. Alright, for divisible by 8, you look at the last three digits. Exactly the same as 4, but you look at the last three digits, and if the last three digits are divisible by 8, then the whole number is divisible by 8. Alright, and then for a number to be divisible by 12, it has to be divisible by 3 and by 4. Then it's divisible by 12. Okay, so those are our divisibility rules. Let's have a look at prime and composite numbers. A prime number has two factors, only has two factors, 1 and itself. 1 is not a prime number, 1 is a unique number because it only has one factor. Prime numbers have two factors, 1 and the number itself. So for example, 5. I can only say 5 divided by 5 and 5 divided by 1, so it has two factors. Alright, composite numbers are all the other numbers. Composite numbers are numbers that have more than two factors. Alright, let's have a look at what prime factors are. Okay, so prime factors. Both words are important. So factors, let's have a look at factors of 24. Factors of 24 we said are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Those are the factors of 24. Now the prime factors of 24 are the numbers that are factors of 24, but they are also prime numbers. So the prime factors of 24 are 2 and 3. So if you had to be asked to list them, you would just write 2 and 3. Right, so those are the prime factors of 24. Let's have a look at our next little bit of work. We need to have a look at the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple. So let's start with the highest common factor. Right, highest common factors, or HCF. Alright, so highest common factor is exactly that. It is where we write out more than one set of factors, and we go and look for the highest number that appears in both, the highest factor that appears in both lists. So if I want to find the highest common factor of 15 and 24, I first write out the factors of 15, which are 1, 3, 5, and 15. And the factors of 24, we've done this a few times already, so it should be going quickly now. 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Those are my lists of factors. Now I go and look for the highest common factor. 1 is common, but it's not the highest. 3 seems to be the highest there. So the HCF for 15 and 24 is 3. Alright, then we also have the lowest common multiple. Lowest common multiple of 4 and 5. Remember, when we're trying to determine the lowest common multiple, we are going to think in 4s, but we're going to count in 5s. And the whole time we're counting in 5s, we're thinking, is this a multiple of 4, 2? So, multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 is the first number that I say when I'm counting in 5s, that I'm also going to say when I'm counting in 4s. So the lowest common multiple of 4 and 5 is 20. Alright, and that is all our work for today.